Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Film Ignite podcast. I just finished watching Season 1, Episode 6 of Arrow Legacies, and I'm here to talk about it and review it. So, basically, the episode starts out with these masked robbers, and they go in sort of the Dark Knight-style opening sequence, and they sort of start robbing this bank, and then this lady tells this police officer, don't pull out your gun, you're going to get us killed, but he doesn't listen, and he gets shot, basically. And it's revealed later that this family has ties to Oliver's father because the father of the robber family was laid off by Oliver's father, even though he was told nothing was going to happen to the company. But then they moved to manufacturing in China. Therefore, he lost his job, he lost his house, he lost everything. So now he's turned to a life of crime, and he's involved his family in this. And basically the entire episode is a parallel showing how Oliver's dad impacted not only his life but all the lives of the people around him and who worked for him. And it's seen through the flashbacks of Oliver's father shaping him into the way he is today. And you get the interesting ending scene when Oliver takes down the masked robbers in the final bank action scene, and he's telling Oliver, it's not my son's fault, I made him into this, I turned him into who he is. He's talking about the main son who wanted to keep going with the crime and everything. And it's sort of a parallel between how Oliver's father shaped him and how this kid has been shaped by his father, just in different ways. And it's really showing the impact that Oliver's father really had on the people of the city, and as well as Oliver himself. And he's seeing himself in that man because he's seeing his father in that man and how he changed his son and everything. So an interesting dynamic there. We also get an interesting flashback in which Oliver starts hallucinating, thinking his dad is actually there with him. He's sort of breaking down. He's like, I'm not as strong as you. And then his dad in the hallucination hands him a gun and says, all right, well, if you don't think you can make it, go ahead and end yourself, basically telling him to kill himself. But Oliver does it. His father basically tells him, your legacy was supposed to honor what I told you to do. My sacrifice was for nothing if you don't make it off this island and you don't try to survive. And you just failed the test, because Oliver ended up taking the gun, trying to shoot himself, but it wasn't real. It was a hallucination. But he was basically being told, you're not strong enough to do this. But Oliver keeps telling him, like, I'm not you. I'm not the man you think I am. I'm not as strong as you think I am. But he somehow found a way to keep going, and we get the final scene at the end where he picks up the book and leaves it over the fire, and all these names start appearing. So that's the first glimpse at how he started to believe that he could actually survive and actually get off the island. It was just that little push that he needed to keep going and continue to do it for his father. So overall, I thought the whole Oliver story in this episode was really great. There's also some moments with Oliver and his mother reconnecting, which was really pissing me off, in the fact that his mother is such a lying and snaky person, just trying to manipulate her son into thinking like, oh, you're never with me, you're never near me, you don't tell me what's going on. She knows damn well what's going on. There's nothing, everything that she's involved with is shady as hell. She knows it, but she's manipulating her son, and I'm not for it at all. I can't wait until Oliver finds out what his mom actually did, being involved in the boat crash and everything. I cannot wait for that confrontation. We also get the Laurel and Tommy side plot, which is starting to rekindle their relationship, I guess. Also with Thea in the mix, sort of a love triangle, I guess, going on. And she's, I guess, feeling like, Laurel doesn't even like you, like, I'm the one you should be with and all that. It was a nice little story for the episode. I'm not really that interested in them. The person I care about most at this point is Laurel. We spent the most with her character, especially with the past few episodes dealing with Oliver and everything. So Tommy's a good guy. I hope he gets what he wants. That's all I'm going to say. And I hope they also find someone as well. I thought that story was fairly, it was decent. It was interesting. I kind of laughed a bit near the end when they had that whole conversation, and it was a sweet moment. But that's pretty much it for this episode. It was a pretty self-contained episode of sort of Oliver and I guess they're calling him Wriggle now. What the hell are they calling him? What's his name? He kept calling him Wriggle. I thought his name was John. Maybe his name's John Wriggle. Why is he calling him Wriggle? Diggle. They're calling him Diggle. Okay, his full name is John Diggle. I was wondering because his name's John, but Oliver keeps calling him Diggle, the bodyguard guy. So, their relationship is getting better as well. And yeah, so it was a pretty self-contained episode with the bodyguard basically telling Oliver, you can't just keep going after these big guys. And Oliver's like, I can't stop all the crime in this city. Like, I'm just going for the things that I need to do to fulfill my father's wishes and everything. But the Diggle convinces him to go after these smaller issues, but Oliver only wants to go for the head of the problem, the head of the snake. He doesn't want to tackle the symptoms. He wants to go for the disease, which I thought was a great line when he said that, because going after all the small crimes within the city isn't really going to change anything unless you go for the people that are causing all these small crimes, which in this case was his father, because the only reason these guys were robbing was because his father laid them off. But anyways, yeah, it was a really good self-contained episode. Not as exciting as some of the other episodes have been, but it's moving the story along, and I enjoyed it. So if you guys did enjoy this review, make sure you check out next time when we check out episode 7. Thank you for listening.